Alright, it's rolling. Say hi, welcome to Cooking His Camera.
Hi, welcome to Cooking His Camera. Hey everybody, welcome to Cooking His Camera.
If you want to be a part of the 1297 Club, all you have to do is make sure you're subscribed, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment that says hashtag 1297 Club.
Also, you guys have been requesting some Q&A with both of us. So if you are wanting to be a part of that and have a question, put it in the comments below and we'll answer the questions in the next one.
Boom. Today we have story time for you. Today we are going to tell you the story of how we met.
So, Zach and I met in the 6th grade when we were like 11 at a pastor's kids retreat. His mom was registering him inside a building and my mom was taking me inside, and he came out and I said hello to him, but I don't know if I said it audibly because he didn't respond.
She didn't say it.
And my mom said, "Wow, that kid's really cute." And I said, "Yes, he is." And so we...
Should I throw up a pop-up of what I looked like back then with my long hair?
Please do.
Watch this. Ding! There it was. That was me. That was me.
We won't throw one of what I look like.
I think we should.
I don't think
Ready? Ding! That was her.
Anyway, so we became like best friends. We texted and talked, and we lived not very far from each other, probably an hour and a half at that time. And then I moved a lot, and so we lost contact a couple of times and then would find each other again. And then we became adults and we went our separate ways to continue our adult lives. He was going to college and I was completely clueless about what I wanted with life. And my brother died, and Zach came to my house to pay his condolences with his mom. I was like, oh my goodness, he is so adorable and like much more attractive than I remember when we were little, because we all have that awkward stage.
Ding!
And so I was dating someone at the time, but man, if he would have told me he liked me, I would have like dropped
I was
everything.
trying to be respectful, okay? She was dating someone.
In January of 2016, my parents stepped down from being pastors at the church, and we started attending a church where Zach was going to college at. I didn't show up to Wednesday night church, and my siblings went, and he messaged me and said, I saw your siblings, but you weren't there. And I said, yep, I had some stuff to take care of. And I apologized, and he said, I'm so sorry, I'll forgive you this once. On February 14th, I rededicated my life to Jesus and told God I wanted nothing to do with boys, and I just wanted God. And God was like, haha, very funny, your future husband is like right here. The last week of February, Zach and I went on our first get-together. It wasn't a date, according to Zach, it was a get-together. And then the first week of March, Zach asked me out to be his girlfriend, and he met with my parents first, and then he asked me out.
That's the right way.
Yes, that's the right way.
How long do we date?
We got married 2 years and 1 month after we started dating.
Let me tell you my side of the story. I'm a start at the movie theater. I had messaged her and I said, hey, why don't me and your siblings, let's go see a movie. And she said, sure. And we planned it for one day. Something happened that night that we planned it, so we had to postpone it. And when we postponed it, it ended up just being me and her. And I'm leaning up against one of the pillars at the movie theater, and I see her coming from the distance. She opens the door, and all of a sudden she like does this little hop, like this hop, skip, and a jump thing through the door. And it was the cutest thing ever. Like, she is so embarrassed by it. She hates that I love it. But she did this little hop into the movie theater, and I thought it was the cutest thing ever. Little did I know she had already seen the movie. She specifically requested this movie because she had already seen it, and she was going to wait for me to make a move and hold her hand the whole time during the movie. It took me like an hour and a half to get up the courage to raise her hand, even though she was sitting there like
Pretty much.
this, pretty much. So there's like the cup holder right here. The armrest got the little cup holder. And I thought I had gotten the courage up a couple times to hold her hand. So she's sit like you were. And like the cup holder's right here, right? And so I felt like I had the courage a couple times. And so I would do this. I'd like reach over to grab her hand, and then I'm like, oh no, abort, cup holder. It took me like an hour and a half, and then I finally did it. And then we talked for like 4 or 5 hours after the movie and just caught up and everything. And then, like I said before, the right way to do it, guys, listen, right here, take notes. The right way to ask a girl out is to meet with her parents first and ask permission, all right? Take notes right here. But point number 1, ask permission from mom and dad, or grandma and grandpa, or whoever it is. Ask permission. Get that down, write it down right now. And so I asked permission, and we met at the zoo later that day. I think we were standing in front of the snakes, right in the reptile exhibit, where I asked her out because she's terrified of snakes. And so at the moment, I was like, why am I asking her out right here in front of the snakes? But she thinks it was somewhere else.
It was in the reptile exhibit building.
Right.
But it was in front of the massive lizard.
See, I think it was a snake. I think it was a snake. And then a short little story about how we got engaged. I was working at a coffee shop. Shout out to Stevie Joe, by the way. Awesome coffee shop in Ark City, Kansas. I was working there, and there's this little side patio thing that was super pretty. I was working one night, so she thought. We were living 4.5 hours apart at this point. She was living up here where we're living now, Stockton, and I was living all the way in Winfield, Kansas, which is 4.5 hours away. And so she came up to Wichita, which is close to Winfield, and she said, hey, I'm in Wichita. If you can come up and let's hang out, I'm here. And I said, oh no, I'm working. And my whole process, which this worked out so perfectly, my whole process was, okay, if I tell her I'm working, she's going to be like, oh, you know what, I'll come visit you at work. It was like a 45-minute drive from Wichita, but, you know, no big deal. And so it worked perfectly because I said, I don't think I can, I'm working tonight. And she said, oh, you know what, I'll come visit you at work. Perfect. Exactly how I planned it to work. Me and my sister Skylar, we spent the day setting up this side patio with mason jars that had, they had candles in them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, mason jars that had candles in them, and then we took real roses and spread rose petals all over the place, and there was lights, and it was just gorgeous. I may be able to throw in a picture here right now, maybe not, but it was gorgeous. So her parents knew, my parents knew, our families were there waiting, and I was hiding, and she walked into the coffee shop. She said, hey, where's Zach? I'd already tipped off the girl that was working that night, and she said, oh, he's out on the side patio. He's cleaning some tables off if you want to go and say hi. Well, I wasn't cleaning no tables off. There wasn't even tables out there. And she walked out around, and there I was standing in the middle of a circle of rose petals and mason jars with candles on them, and she walked down and I read 1 Corinthians 13, and then I got on a knee and like knocked down 2 mason jars, but then she said yes, so I guess it worked out. And then after that, it was history.
I had called my dad and asked if he was gonna come hang out with us, and he said he couldn't make it. And Brooklyn said that something came up and she couldn't make it either. And I was like dead set that he was proposing this weekend. I was like, no, he's proposing. I can feel it. And so as we were driving to visit him, my soul was slowly like deflating. And my mom said she remembers looking back at me and just wishing she could tell me it was coming because she felt so bad for me. I was crying. I was trying to like get it together before we got to Stevie Joe because I didn't want to cry. And then we got there and it was packed full of people, and I was like, there's no way that I'm gonna be able to see him. Like for 2 seconds, he's gonna be too busy. And my mom actually asked the lady behind the bar. She told us where he was, and then we went out, and my mom literally shoved me in front of her because I didn't want to walk first. So I was like, just go, Mom, it's not that big of a deal. And she's like, Bethany, get up here. And I went in, and she grabbed me and like pushed me forward, and I was so confused until I turned the corner, and then I was like, holy crap. And my sister was hiding behind a fence and scared me half to death. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I saw my dad and everybody, and I was like, oh, okay, now I know what's going on. So
it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. Hey, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned. Every week, Mondays, we will release a video like this, kind of a different style, getting to know us. We're going to vlog and go out places and different things, but this is gonna be the norm probably. Us sitting down talking about our lives, maybe some like top 10 lists of like, hey, top 10 things I wish I would have known before I got married, or top 10 best things about living in a small town. So stay tuned for those, and also be looking for any extra videos. Who knows? Make sure you hit that notification bell so that whenever we do upload, you get that notification, and we will see you guys next time.